I have owned and used a lot of cameras in my life, but really the first one that really started to get me paid was this guy, the HVX 200. And where I was in my career at this time was I was filming lots of rock climbing, and I was selling that footage of professional climbers to lots of different companies and outlets. Why I switched to this camera from the DVX 100B at the time was A, because it filmed to cards, also because it shot HD. This was in the very early stages of HD becoming a standard. But at the time, this camera really filled a gap, and it allowed a lot of us who couldn't necessarily afford these massive broadcast cameras to get into a professional world for relatively cheap. One of the things that really was super awesome about this camera too is it just felt a lot more, at the time, cinematic, because it was shooting in 24p. I think that that had a aesthetic that people and clients really were gravitating towards. Now we take it for granted, but prior to this, a lot of stuff was shot on DV tape, which was interlaced. And even though like the DVX shot 24p and 24p advanced, it was still an interlaced video at the end of the day. This just made it a lot more easier. The workflow was faster. And at the time, the camera was in a lot of demand. Now, I really can't talk about this camera necessarily without talking about this device, which is a depth of field adapter by a company called Lettuce. Basically how it worked was it screwed onto the front of this ENG camera, and then you put, in my case, a Nikon lens on. Once you mounted the lens adapter and mounted your lens, you would essentially have to zoom in to crop out the edges of the adapter, and then also set the focus on the HVX 200's lens. So everything was in focus all the way through the adapter. And once that was set, then you could pull focus and work off of the actual lens. This seems like a ridiculous amount of work now, but it was definitely something that was just so mind-blowing at the time. There wasn't video capabilities yet on DSLRs. So not only was I able to get a shallow depth of field on what traditionally was a very flat image, which helped set my work apart, which then in turn helped me get commercial clients, which leveled up my filmmaking career quite a bit. Honestly, I probably would never take this out in 2026. I probably wouldn't take this out at all. I could only imagine taking this out for a very specific client that was looking for a very unique, nostalgic look for a social media campaign. I just think the workflow and how this thing operates is a little slow and clunky for today's faster paced productions. Now, this camera did teach me a lot. It taught me a lot of things about being very intentional about shooting. It actually forced intention because it was a little bit slower to work with. For as ridiculous as this camera system is today, looking at it, I have a lot of gratitude towards it because it helped open doors for me and also helped me become a better image maker.